So, here I am again. This is the second painting I'm finishing today, and that is the shitty news that I have been working with for quite a while, and I think it became quite nice. It's hard to say. I need to go into the textures and look at them. It's not autofocus, so you can see how I built the dress with all the brush strokes, all the colors, the different colors, and yeah, the shadows and how the light kind of penetrates through the dress, and how the light spots like that, it kind of lights up the whole thing. And yeah, maybe I should have autofocus on. But anyway, I think it became quite nice. So there's a process video that I will share on YouTube. So yeah. As usual, remember to share my videos and subscribe to my channel, comment, and stay cool. Yeah. So here we are. I'm going to do this, and first I have to put on some. I'm going to start with a face, so I have to put on some retouché vernis. It's called retouché vernis, so it's made by Old Holland. Maybe I could get Old Holland to support me. Talking about Old Holland, because I'm not famous enough yet. So you have to help me with that. Share my videos and stuff. I don't know why I'm in Norway. Anyway, so I put this on because it's easier for me to see the colors. Now it has been drying for 3 years, so I guess I don't have any problems with that. 4 years almost, actually. 4 years since no, 3 years, sorry. So and can be difficult to. What I do usually when I do the face is that I kind of hang the photograph like this. If I use a photograph, I used to do more model, but I haven't done that in a while. I do still lifes and stuff, so and. That is very important to do still lifes if you're gonna learn how to paint and see shapes. Now I always go back to the same point, which means I go to the lights and I start working with that again. There's a reason for that. It's a very good place to start with the lights to get the shape right. And I like the points. You know, when you have done a sketch, this is a very nice sketch, so one has to kill everything over and over and over again, and it's not that fun. Well, it is fun, but it's quite exhausting because you never feel you can actually. You have to destroy stuff, so it can be frustrating for a while, and in the end you kind of go through that, and then you come out on the other side. So, yeah. Okay, so maybe she has this light on her nose. See, you can just build. It's funny because every time you kind of put, you can't do this in one go. It has to be layer upon layer, and it always puzzles me. Why? But it's just plain physics, I guess. To give something texture, to give something life, it has to be touched many times. I think is that anyway. Now, I always want to build the dress. The way I do it is always to put on a lot of color, thick color in the thick places. So I can go in and mold it. And today I wanna try to get all the in her dress there was some what do you call them, stuff in Norwegian patterns kind of, and I also have to build up this woolly feeling. This dress is quite nice actually. It was a dress that my mother gave me, and she got her from my father when she was young, and it's a funny story. He gave this dress to her, and then she looked so sexy in it that he couldn't stand that she wore it amongst other men. Well, I don't know if it's true, but that's what she told me. He became jealous on them. So that's funny. And my mother both is and was extremely beautiful when she was young, so I can picture it. So, see how I build. Yeah, some more reddish. Yeah. So now you can see how I start. Put some white. When you're gonna do face and details like that, it's always good to have a clean slate in a way, a very clean palette, so you don't mess it up too much. Yeah, see the light now, it's just boom. Just booming. There are also some Prussian blue. I need some. I use a little bit of black just to break the colors some places, but I try to avoid too much black because it tends to kill the colors. But it can be a nice tool to break them a little bit. Don't put on black. Like, oh, there's dark, I put on black. No, that would be like a hole. So you don't do that. Never do that. Okay, yeah. So, okay. So, I think I've been painting for a few hours, and I think it's becoming better. Just have to have some more lights. I was painting last night, now I'm going back to it. I am going to try to paint on first I do the so more hours on the face, and then go into the whole thing, because it's so unfinished. I have to build up the whole thing to get what do you call it? Overlook now. So I can actually get some, what do we call it? Wholeness? Oh. Whatever. Yeah, I can't find the words right now. Anyway. It's quite much whiter. It's not that deep in colors. It's not that much contrast. So it's going to be a bigger challenge, because all the parts of the painting has to become quite detailed. And yeah, I mean, I have like 23 or 4 days to finish these, and it's going to be hard pressed, but hopefully it will be okay. Been wondering about streaming on YouTube. Maybe that could be a good idea. That was my computer. The good thing here is that it's quite a nice sketch. It's quite perfectly drawn up. I don't see any big mistakes. So it's just for me to keep molding all the different textures. textures and contrasts. Without having to move things so much. The problem is here, she has red hair, and hair is always a problem because you can't really, you can't paint every hair. So I have to find a good way to make a quite nice illusion of hair. And you kind of have to go with the physics of it, or make the contrasts, colors in a way that make you believe in it. No real brush strokes. See, there's some lights here, and just go in, and first I put on some lights, some brush strokes, and later I go over them again with different colors, and the sum of all these things becomes a natural shape or natural texture. I guess the old masters who went as apprentices learned these things from their masters, how to think, and I had to figure it out myself, so just by observing. Now, the background here isn't that dark, so I have to lighten that up a little bit without losing. So I can't have it that color, it has to have some kind of bluish, greenish, and I have to keep it very flat behind there because the texture is going to be in the hair. Many years ago I had a friend who wanted to be a painter. He was a very good drawer, but he didn't get the thing with textures, and his sketches were quite good, but he never seemed to get over a certain point because the sketches are always open and full of texture and full of life. The first thing you observe, but he couldn't finish them because he thought he was going to paint every hair exactly as it was, and it isn't possible. You can't do that, period. Even the most photorealistic painters has to compromise when it comes to that. So the trick is to use the paint as if it was clay or sculpture. You see here, I just put on very flat colors behind there. And then, because there's a lot of kind of brushy hair coming out here. So how do I do that? How do I get these small lights to flicker after a while? Well, I have to overpaint. I have to first put on light, and then I have to cross over with a bluish color and then paint over that again, and after a while you kind of build what you see. It's hard to explain, but that's how it's done. That's how I do it anyway. Like when you start putting on these brush strokes, start building the textures, and it has to dry, and then you put a lasur on it, some colors, and then you paint over that again and paint over that again, and at some point somebody turns the life on. I think that's a good way to explain it. Anyway, yeah, she's cute. It's a very sweet girl. Really cute, actually. She has this ironic smile. Cool. I don't know where she's now. Well, my place will be here. So it's funny, you observe and observe and observe, and in the end people ask me how, and it's so difficult to answer. The answer is just paint. Just keep working. Keep pushing yourself. Yeah. Such a beautiful hair. Anyway, until next time. Yeah, I think I'm doing some progress. Always go slow in the beginning, and just keep adding the mönster, the patterns in the cloth. It's a very dynamic process actually, because it's very open now, very wet. Just all these different layers. So really not much to say. I see something new all the time. And the problem I will probably experience is it's quite cold now, it's winter, so it's not so as cold that I'm freezing, but temperature is okay in that sort of sense, but oil paint is drying faster in summertime when it's hot, so I just hope that that won't be my biggest problem, because I really need to finish these paintings this month, and yeah. So hope for the best. I said mix colors on my palette, but it's not all true. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just put them on, grab here, grab some there, and just put it on like that. But it varies from what I'm doing. So. My studio here is quite big, but it's a cellar, so I have been wondering if there's maybe a little bit of fungus or something, because sometimes I really feel a little bit tired in here. Now I haven't seen any light, it's winter time and I haven't seen any light for weeks because I'm working all night. It's like 7 in the morning now, and I will probably keep working for 1.5 hours more before I sleep. Then I go to the gym for a little while and just do some warm up and stretching. "36 years with martial arts and training has given me some arthritis and some stuff, so I need to keep in check. It's a sad thing because I really love training, so exercising. I usually do. I use this. I used to have longer nails actually because some people are using a stick or something, but I just if I want some precision, I just lay my finger into the canvas and then I just start molding. See, I'm starting to make her rounder now. So I put in greenish, and then I use the complementary colors in the whites, like reddish, so I kind of create this natural. What will actually happen in nature is that in the lightest places it will be kind of reddish, orange, yellow, maybe a mix of reddish and bluish. But then again, they will be complementary to the colors in there. And also now I can shape the brush strokes because it's so thick with color, and I can really put it on as it was clay. So, and it has a, as I told you, quite a long drying process. And actually in these here it doesn't matter because I can keep putting in more and more details into the wet paint. So when I have like some patterns here, I don't know what it's called in English, say patterns, structures. I'm going to look it up, so next time I talk about it I know what it is. So I can actually just go in and I can just actually make them physical. So when I put lasur on top of these layers and start working on them again, the lasur falls into the structure in the paint. There's a store upstairs. Always start to create so much noise in the morning. But you get used to it. It's better to have a store up there than have some neighbor that can't stand music. So when it's all empty up there, it's good for me because I like to play loud music when I paint. Right now I'm talking, so no music. There's 1, 2. I love this flow. You just go into this beautiful place. Your mind just turns off and gets silent. That's my problem. My brain is on all the time. It's It's almost been born into stress, but the painting is just leveling everything out. That is so great for me, because I can't stand not doing anything. Even after watching a movie, I feel lost. It's like I've lost my head. But when I paint, I go into this deep connection. If there should ever be any, should have been in heaven, or I think this is what the Buddhists talk about. This feeling of meditation, or come to a point where you exist but you're not in pain, you're just in flow. So who cares about all the other things? It's just, it doesn't matter. I've been single for such a long time now. I think I always have been single in some sort of way. Even when I was with a girl, I was single. It's almost like being married to myself and being content with it. Well, it's not going to be a 10-hour video, so I just need to. I'm always getting so much paint on me. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm working with this, and it's quite fun actually, because I have to put in all the points of light and create an illusion of metal, which basically is to understand how metal works, how it shines, why it shines. You see, in metal you get all the shadows from the room, and if you could actually go deep enough into detail, you would see the room in all these things. Of course, I'm not going there, but I really wonder if that would be possible. Anyway, so I have to put in a lot of contrasts. Also get this right. Just need a smaller brush. Yeah. do hope I'm going to be able to finish this within a month, but it's going to be a hard month. I'm now in the middle of it. It's like the 14th of February, and I just noticed that actually this month also lacks a few days because of, you know, it's like 28 days this month. It's a bitch. Okay. But I will do my best, so at least I know that. Colors, see different things you put it on. Some leaves will start to get that feeling. There are greens, there are yellows, there are blues, there are all kinds of colors in it. And if you go to the museum, you see that they also usually they only paint impressions of it, and I guess that is probably the best way to do it. Some has gone all the way. They also tend to be the paintings from the 1300s, maybe. Even Vermeer is quite loose in the details when you look at it. Oh shit. It's good that I have a mouth. So it's over here. Yeah. Some bronchitis or something. It's cold outside. Okay. Then I take some highlight, some white, and I just kind of put it on top of the color. The other color that is on there, so it kind of lays on top. That's also, you go deep, and then you just put the colors on top of that deep and just enhance it a little bit. Don't mix it too much in, and you have to think about the complementary colors, like thing that goes around and back there is in the green, if this is in the red. So you keep just thinking that way. And that too, sometimes I just realize I painted something, it's almost finished, and I realized I placed it wrong, and then I just start moving it. So. And there's a light that is kind of yellow, cadmium yellow, which is behind this and comes from the back. But I'm not too far out there, so like this. Temper that down a little bit because it can't be as light as this, because then you lose the depth. I should take a little closer so you see better. So now there is a bluish greenish that cough. I don't like it. Maybe I'm 48 now. Maybe I have lung cancer. My mother was smoking all my childhood, so I was severely a victim of secondary smoke, and it also gave me some asthma. Maybe it did. I don't know. I don't blame her. She didn't know better. I remember we were sitting in my mom's car, a Chevrolet actually, beautiful car, and she was smoking like a chimney and always listening to Janis Joplin. So I still love Janis Joplin. And I did start smoking myself for a while, but because I did a lot of sports and couldn't actually function, I never became a real smoker. It always annoyed me, so that I did. So I just stopped. But you can get lung cancer from just being a lucky guy, as Andy Kaufman said when he had lung cancer. You have cancer? It's from the movie with Jim Carrey. You have cancer? Yeah, I'm a very lucky guy. You don't smoke? Yeah, I'm a very lucky guy. Well, that's kind of the irony of it. Anyway, you might see now how it evolves. It cannot be the same like there as there. It has to be, you have to choose, you have to kind of get that down a little bit. And you can enhance the other one. Now you maybe understand why my paintings take a lot of time, because I stand around for this for hours on end. To get it right. And I need to put in highlights, but not with white. Highlights, you can't just, you can put on white somewhere, but not everywhere. So I put on this here. I'm not sure. Down a little bit, and one behind here. And I can explain the shape by doing it like this. And kind of dragging it this way. And just keep molding it. Clearer you get it when you keep painting on it several times. You can't get more and more the mirror effect that you will get from metal. It's hard to do it in one go, and you just have to concentrate. It's even harder now when I'm talking, so that doesn't make it any better. Let me see now. It goes like this. Comes a light in from the side over there. Here. Yeah. Maybe. There's one other there that probably will reflect this one. Yeah. That's the whole point. Everything reflects everything else all the time. So but also you must also tear yourself away from what it is, so you don't start to paint the symbols of metal you have in your head, because you have symbols for everything in our heads, and they always keep fucking with us. That is why we keep doing the same mistakes. Everybody do the same mistakes. And that's what I tell people if I'm asked how to do this, how to do that, and I see that this person hasn't gone beyond the symbolism or the symbols in there. They haven't started observing it. So I kind of urge them to not be artists, but only try to be painters or be scientists, because that will actually make it easier. I had a teacher in art school that tried to explain that to me, and I was not capable of taking in what he said, because for many reasons. One of them was that I wanted to paint like this and it didn't take me serious, so I kind of went into this rebellious mood. But he was a nice guy. His name was actually Tally Nelson Love. He's a quite good painter, abstract painter. Englishman living in Stavanger, Norway. And he tried to explain to me the value of using different kinds of brushes and stuff, and I just wasn't able to take it in. I was so stubborn, and it took me years to actually figure out the things that he told me all by myself. Saying, okay, he was right. But it's maybe also a good way to learn, because you learn from your mistakes. Really learn from your mistakes. Anyway, so, and it's also a good thing that if it hasn't dried, it's easier to kind of put the color into it. And kind of do like this. First I push it down and then I kind of pull it back up again. And it can become a mush, a mess, if you do it wrong enough. Here. And here. And yellows. Yeah. Also drag the color and kind of do like this. So, well, it's not finished. It's just shit. Need to go to the doctor, I think. And I will also put some blues in here, bluish. And you also can put on, let it dry, and then you put a lasur over it, like some blue or some reddish, and then you work on top of that again. So there's many possibilities. This is totally wrong. This there is going to be moved. All the way. It's probably the talking. It's very hard because when you paint, it's a good thing to go into this deep unconscious way of being. So you start just absorbing, and you really start to see. Observe. Became a little bit better, maybe. Agreed? Yes. Yeah. Okay. This one there, one there. Okay. Okay, I won't film anymore because I have to concentrate. Strange when I film, I actually do feel that somebody is actually watching me. So, yeah. Well, it's a good beginning, which I've said now 10 times, and it's always hard to tear yourself away from the shit. That's when I first get into it, it's like my brain just says, yes, yes, I don't want to leave. I want to stay in that state and stay there forever. It's like watching TV series. You just don't want to stop because you'll calm down and it's like Netflix. very dangerous for people with a brain like mine. And the same goes for the painting, but the painting is the positive aspect of it. So if I can become more addicted to the positive things in my life and less addicted to the negatives, that's the way to go. If I could stand like here and paint and paint and paint and paint and didn't have to sleep, just got into the flow, I think I could just stay here and paint until I died. Because when you get into the beautiful flow, everything just stops. It's okay. I need more concentration. But okay, I hope you get the point. So I keep on ranting, yeah. Oh, it's so hard to tell myself what I want. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Okay, so let's see how it turned out. Been working all night with this, and if you can see, I start to get that feeling into it. It's just points of light and blue clear colors, very clear colors. I think actually Vermeer used to put on some quite clear colors. I need to get the auto focus on, I guess. But as you see, I think it became quite nice. Zoom here. So that is actually to get the points of light in the dark as good as possible. I will go over it again and then it's going to tighten it up, but I think I have done a good groundwork. Okay, thanks for watching. Yeah, so I'm now working with the face, and I guess that is some of the most exhausting about the painting, because that's where you really can see how much skill you actually have or how good you actually are, because most other things are quite relative. Cloth and stuff like that are relative, but when it comes to faces, it has to be correct, at least in the proportions and stuff. It's extremely important. Now, I also have to work with the transition between the hair and the background. That's also difficult, time consuming, and I have no idea how I'm going to be able to finish all this work in such a short time, but I'll do my best. And just keep on walking, working, and hopefully I will be able to pull it through. If not, I just have to buy more time from the customer. That is often the problem with paintings that are already bought. You tend to, they say, oh, you can take it whenever you kind of feel like it, and suddenly you have, the time has gone. So the best thing is to have a deadline and decide what to finish first. I'm going to have an exhibition in like 3.5 months, and I just need to get my shit together and paint like well, my life really depends on it, so and I don't want to fuck this up. Some cute things happening inside her eyes there, which I will come back to later, because right now it's just to get the colors right and stuff like that. So people keep asking me how many hours I put into a painting, and it's really hard to say. I've been wondering about actually doing one and write down every single hour I use, but that would just be maybe just be stress. You don't have to, you know, the eyes are going kind of in like that, and you have to find the right, have to follow the way it curves. So I'll go a little bit up here, and I put up some lights, some small spots, and there's some bluish, because the photo I'm using here are quite bluish, or there's so many warm colors in it, so the contrasts are a little bit different than I usually work with. So, and just this ironic kind of look in her face. And that's the whole point with this picture, of this painting. It is a very ironic painting. It's called Shitty News. She's sitting there reading a newspaper on a toilet seat that isn't attached to anything. So and it can also be seen as a comment to Dada, or ready-made. These ready-mades like Duchams and stuff like that. These I actually think had some purpose at the time they were made, because it was in a way new. even Duchamps kind of knew how superficial it actually was, the whole thing. So easy to become too much because it's such a, it is so subtle, and I just have to keep it subtle, keep it natural, and that's the problem I probably face in this, that it's going to be hard to make the colors in the face feel natural. But then again, the goal is a good painting, so how do you paint skin? Oh, darling, there's no such thing. I wonder if they had, people like Rembrandt or others actually had a kind of a ready-made recipe for skin. You see now it's kind of more subtle, and I start to notice that despite that I thought here was lighter, it isn't lighter, it's steeper, and it has this, yeah, yeah, it was better. Think. And so, yeah, I guess try that. So now our hair goes in there, and then I go on top of that again, dampening down, finding a neutral color. What I do when I paint, I usually go a lot between the bluish and a reddish. I use also these broken whites and white, but it's more like the same colors that go back and forth. So, but it comes to a point where you sometimes need a bright yellow or a reddish just to kind of light up the whole thing a little bit. There's a strange thing here. Of course, this is too much, but then I have to. And that's the whole thing, because first I put on some color, and then I go in and I kind of makes it a part of the face. And this is the whole process, going back and forth there until you find the right. The right texture or color. To now make this feel like it actually is a part of the face. It's quite hard. Now there's a point of light right under it, like this. And the brilliant thing about these textures is that when I put a lasur on later, color falls into all these cracks, all the texture, and I work on top of that and give it the last punch that actually makes it feel natural. The same thing with the hair, you can build up the textures and then you put a lasso on and damps it down, you start pulling it out again and you get a more natural thing out of it. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Okay. Okay, so now it's the dress. There's a lot of things that has to happen. Putting the lights at the right levels, getting the colors right, so I actually get some depth in it and stuff like that, and all the patterns in a dress. It's really interesting. I don't play any music now, but of course I'm talking, but when I play music, I usually get into the flow and the whole thing becomes like a dance. So that is great. That's a great thing about painting. I have to kind of paint as if I see her thigh through the cloth. So when I, like here, see, it goes down like that. I did a mistake here, I see. So I just have to go over that, and the thigh is somewhere about here. So there will be a really bright light behind here. This is behind, so what I do, I take some reddish into the white to make it more vivid. And I just think her thigh comes around here and put this on like you see straight through it. I also have to put some here to link these together. And then I just have to keep, because the cloth is, you can see through the cloth there. And that is how you get these effects, and you see this in the classics. You should have some blue in it too, I see, because the reddish became a little bit too reddish. So you just go when you no, I thought that wasn't right. I thought it comes all the way down here. So the first one was right. I did a mistake there because the thigh became too thin. You can see it went out there. It's very strange how the brain works, because the brain just pushes this, makes this, put it together in our heads. And that is also why people see ghosts and stuff at night, because they tend to see faces and everything, and the brain tends to just put it together, and people believe that what they saw was actually what they saw, but what they saw was the brain doing the what it's supposed to, try to recognize danger or recognize faces. So if you believe in Bigfoot, Bigfoot is what you're going to see. So, so you make a mistake there, maybe you learn something from it. What you learn is just take a step back and think before you act. Same thing with this one. I created too much of a sharp yesterday. It has to be rounder. This one has to be rounder. But I'll do that later. I just saw it now because I saw the link here would be problematic to get all the way over here, because that's actually what happens. Shit kind of goes over there, over there, over there, you know. I think I have some bronchitis, so it's winter time, so I'm cycling in the cold, and that is not so smart. It'd be quite silly to die of lung pneumonia in 2017. So now you see it's kind of falling more to do like that, and then I can just make it the right color later. The stupid thing here was that I had already placed it down here, so I just thought now that I should move it up a little bit, but I was actually wrong. So it was a nice effect though, but it was a wrong effect. Wrong place, sorry. So there's some reddish behind there. I see. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's one of these dolls, because it goes out there. So the reddish is actually in the doll that is behind there. So what you see there is a part of the doll. It's a doll behind. Yeah. This work, find the right color. I kind of go between the primary colors, trying to find the right hue. Just placing stuff back, because this is in the dark, and that's the problem, because I see my eyes tricks me to believe that it's pure colors, but they're all broken down into deeper nuances, which is actually very hard to determine. And you just have to see, compare to the lights, and see, okay, it probably has some greenish in it, because of the red here, and there's some greenish in this. So, but it's deeper, so I have to work in some more blue and some more red, and try to find it. Make it into a dynamic thing, because also the shape are important. So there's so many things that has to fall into place. And now I'm kind of drawing in a way. It's using the brush as I would use charcoal, piece of charcoal. It gives me some control. Some places, like in the lights, I put the colors on, but here I have to be more careful, and If it comes to drawn, it will seem drawn and that won't feel natural. So that is what you see in the big museums around the world. You see painters who really knew how to do this in a very spontaneous way. And I guess that is where the challenge lay, because I'm not that good yet. I hope I can become that good someday if I focus. And because I didn't actually learn to paint from anyone, I learned it by myself and from my mistakes. And that is basically how I learn today. Still learn. Only from my mistakes. And revelations in a way. That aha moment when you just something detonates in your head and you just understand it on a deeper level. And then after a while your brain is starting to create patterns in your neurotransmitters that make this more and more easy. Connecting. It is basically the brain connecting like a computer. And links up to memories, and so in the end you become fluent. It's like learning a language, it's like learning play the piano, it's like learning anything. You repeat it and the brain just picks up the pieces. That is why leading a healthy life and eating healthy food, giving the brain what it needs, it's very important. Maybe we should make a video on only that. Just talk about how important it is to keep healthy, because the strain on your brain and body and the stress from meeting yourself in the door is quite tiresome over time. It's like it tend to wear you down a little bit. But if you're strong and you actually take care of your body, exercise. I do martial arts, been doing that for 36 years. As some arthritis now and some damage everywhere, but I still train, still work out, because it helps my brain. So I can guarantee one thing, there won't be coming much good art out of leading the bohemian life. You have to focus on what you do, and then do like me. I'm thinking like you maximize happiness by doing the right thing. Try to do the right thing. It's not every day I do the right thing. It can be a week that I don't do anything right, but at least I know what's right or wrong, so I can bounce back quite easily. It's when you don't know stuff, you are in chaos. You can't really figure a way out of it. It's like trying to stop drinking if you don't know how alcoholism works on the brain. You will just feel that you are losing control and failing all the time, but the point is that you have to acknowledge that the brain, parts of the brain, is rational, and the center for lust and need and sex and food and all that shit. No, not shit, you need food and sex, but is stronger than the rational brain. knowledge will be the kind of objective standard that will help you to objectively do the right stuff over time, so you can change the neurons to more and more, the brain to more and more do the right choices. I wouldn't even call them choices, I'd call them something else. Because if you do the right thing, it's actually it is a choice. It is when you don't do the right thing, and you were supposed to do the right thing, and you keep on doing the wrong thing, that is not a choice. Anyway, I'm ranting about this. We should rant about painting, which is why we're watching in the first place. Now, you see how I work. The best thing when you're going to do stuff like this is to play music. I play everything from Rammstein to hip hop or trance, and U2 and Coldplay and Cure and The Doors and then back to trance or some crazy shit like that. People don't really understand my taste in music. Or it can also be classical music, especially piano music, which I find extremely compelling. And it reminds me of painting. It's funny, actually, I've been sleeping enough now, and I haven't been drinking alcohol for a while, and and I've been eating the right kinds of food very, very consciously, and I can actually feel that I'm talking better. It's easier to talk in English because English is my second language, and it's not really something I've learned from anyone. I just kept on talking. Well, I had English in school, and I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I think I'm more like a learning by repeating and hearing and picking up like music. I'm quite good pitch, always about to dance and stuff like that. So. See that? Okay. Anyway, you see how I think when I'm painting. I'm just I kind of work with the whole thing at the same time. I'm not trying to pin myself down at one place, because then you get into the static state and you can't really focus right. Now, it is more difficult for me to paint when I'm talking. I've been saying that again and again. And it is actually because I'm not able to go into the deep flow while talking. So, when you make a video, it is like, and you know somebody is going to watch it someday, it is kind of like being watched. So, I never understood how people could actually have sex when somebody else is watching. I don't think I could do that. It would be so wrong. Get me out of the flow. See? Well, And there's one coming up here. It's one coming up like round here. So it's like a porn movie. I have to stand like this because you're gonna Jesus. Yeah. I'm in a good mood tonight, I guess. Oh, twisted angle a little bit. I can't see. No, it's actually how I paint. I kind of push myself in different directions. So here too, I want this to be on top, so I need this to get that feeling of laying on top. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna film some more later, so you can see the progress like in 5 hours time or something. So I'll see you around. So here I am again, a few hours later, and I'm still working on it. I've been working a little bit all around, but basically what I've been doing is actually I did some mistakes and I had to move some of it, and not that anybody else would have seen it, but it was kind of question about pride and trying to reach the goals. See, I'm building very slowly all these. It doesn't become perfect though, but it's just have to have that get a natural feel to it. So this is the whole point in a way, to keep on giving it. Now it's wet here, so it's easier for me to go in and, you know, when I put on new layers, they aren't kind of on top of it, they just kind of glide into the wet color and wet paint, and it will give a more natural feel to it. So enhance that a little bit, and go in here behind, and put in some stuff in here, so it doesn't feel empty. And that's the thing with paintings like this, you just have to first give it the griselle, and then you start kind of straighten it up or tighten it up as you go along. And everything always takes more time than you think. And of course with deadlines, that is a really fucked up situation. And now it's the 17th, which means I have basically 12 days to finish some of the paintings. I do not know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to stand here day and fucking night and paint, so just have a few hours with maybe a little bit of exercise and go for a walk, go to the gym, then start working again. The funny thing is that I don't feel so stressed by it either, really. So, okay. Now I wanted to take the upper part here when I work on the face next time, but just for the heck of it. Put in some too drawn, to loosen it up a little bit, and like this, so we get more natural. So happy Prussian blue exists. Vivid blue-green. I remember the first time I used it was kind of, wow, how the hell do I control Prussian blue? So anything, I grab Prussian blue and red, just drag it in white, and I just do like that. And I get the two colors to not mix, but just become a part of a texture that on micro level has the clean colors in it, but they mix in our eyes. So, yeah. So funny, I didn't know all these things when I started. I thought that I would become a painter. I was a young man of man, that would be. I was young. I was training girls. And now it is training painting in girls. and science and politics. So anyway, see how I think. Now this actually feels like it's starting to be on top of this. So what I do, I take some Prussian blue, some bluish other color, temp it down a little bit, some black, and I just go in here and let it run block for shadow. Then I take some reddish, some cadmium or something. It seems like alzaline, and also some blue and some, and then I just kind of go here and boom. We have a more natural shadow, but it has to be like this, I guess, and yeah. You know, the physics of it is also very important. How does a shadow actually hit the surface? These are the things we have to think about. So, and since there's a lot more light here, there has to be a tiny spot with some red in it. That kind of enhances it, then takes it up a notch. There. And there. And like this. Okay. There. So this is the way to think. How do I push it, push the form, push the shape? Boom, boom, okay. Now it's kind of falling into place. Yeah, that was wrong. Now, need to give that a little bit more bang for the buck. And I give it some more bang. You see now, first I went that way, I went this way, and now to give it some more, do like this, and I kind of round off the edges here, so it kind of becomes more natural. Some red here. You also vary the brush strokes, the pencils you use. I usually don't use so much these painting spoons anymore. Kind of prefer to vary the, you see now, there was red, now I take some Prussian and I push it up a little bit. So I get a complementary effect. And a little bit more contrast. So I was thinking like you see the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci, or the paintings, you see he's pushing on it, finding the right spots to enhance the shape. And I think he was thinking more scientifically when he was painting and drawing than actually trying to be an artist. He was a scientist, and as I've said probably 30 times before, don't try to be an artist, be a scientist. The art is within us. The artist is there. You don't need to try to find him. He's there. You just evolve him. Learn a skill. After Einstein, there's not so many ideas left, is there? So, painting doesn't need to be philosophy. You don't have to ground it in some kind of why. As Duchams said about the why question when it comes to why we exist. Why is there something rather than nothing? And you just come to the point where you just have to say that the why question is just a silly question. Because there is no answer to it. And you will never get an answer, probably never an answer. You will get a why or how. Not a why, but a how. Get the how, maybe you get a how answered. But not the why question. Because there probably is no why. There just is. Infinite multiverse, which we as a subject are a part of for a short blip of this existence. What a tragedy that we are going to die. So sad, really. It's also liberating. What else should we do for all eternity? Paint paintings, have sex, hang around, watch Netflix, smoke. For people who watch sports, go to heaven and watch sports, stay here on earth. The body that never dies, and keep wasting our time on bullshit. I don't know. How would it be to be able to live infinitely? Well, there would be actually a statistics for how long you could live until you were killed in a car accident or some kind of catastrophe. So maybe I don't know how long that would take, but I guess can figure it out. Okay. Yeah. I think that's quite nice. And, yeah. Then I want to do the part down here. And yeah. So, bye-bye. So, question on YouTube today, which I think I could comment on in this video. The question was how I approached the face, and first of all, I basically panic every time I am going to start working on the face, because I usually do very nice sketches and then I have to break them down and build them up again to get more texture and kind of more life into them. And in that process you are in a situation where you really get your skill tested. And I haven't learned to paint from anyone, and I keep on doing the same mistakes over and over and over again, and it is equally painful every time, because the amount of concentration and the amount of angst because of being afraid of fucking it up is something you just have to live with. Now, when it comes to how I approach the face as I approach any other form, I try to look at it and see directions, like does this goes down, this goes up, I build, maybe I put on some highlights, I go down, or I build it like a sculpture. And that's why I had answered one of these questions in another video. You just have to learn to observe things and try to repeat what you see. But as I did say, you also need to approach it kind of in stages. Would that be right to say, in stages? Maybe that. Or I feel sometimes in my head that I partition it up in different almost in mathematically. I kind of I see it as a shape, not as a face. And in part, not departments, but in, okay, let's say boxes. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm Norwegian, I can't always remember the English words. I put it kind of, I see it in a way as directions, as a physical shape that I'm going to kind of feel different sides of it. And it's hard to say. I do know that in the beginning when I was painting, I painted more the symbols for eyes, symbols, and sometimes I still do. If I lose the flow, I go back into the symbolic piece of the brain, and I really start fucking up, because we have in our heads symbols for everything. We have symbols for nose, for eyes, we have symbols for everything, and in the beginning we keep on, because we haven't trained our eyes, we just keep on painting symbols. We're painting things to drawn or too symbolic instead of seeing the real shape. I hope this helps, because that's what I always say to artists who's asking is how do you do this, how do you do that? And you have to stop trying to be an artist. You have to just try to evolve your skills and teach your eyes to see. And the only way to do it is like a pianist. You have to play the piano to become a good pianist. You have to play chess to become a good chess player, and you have to paint to become a good painter. And the problems you have in the beginning when you start out these things will be exactly the same. They will only be on a different level. The better you get, you just move the problems in front of you. You never reach a point when you actually can paint or you know how to paint. You just keep on adding on to your skills, and that's the approach. So what I say to people is paint still lifes, objects, paint people, paint yourself in a mirror, use model if you can. I'm not doing that now, and it's actually a while since I did that because I always have so much to do, so I can't find the time to do model studies. I have exhibitions, I have portraits to do, I have so much to do. So, and live models takes, of course you have to pay them, but they also takes a lot of time, because you have to find time that suits the model, and I usually also work at night. Right now it's like 6:15 in the morning, and I'm still just feeling wide awake. And I will keep on painting until at least another 4 hours, and then I will sleep all day, and I will start working again, because I have a deadline with these paintings, so I really have to try to get it done. And back to the painting, and you have to try to get all these what do you call, from when you try to get all the lines to disappear, but you kind of think, how do you actually see the world? Well, you see the world quite blurry actually, and that's why you have to blur out the lines. You have to be there, but they have to be blurred down, or it's going to be very stiff. Yeah, and of course she has a very cool facial expression, and I actually lost it, and I don't know why, but I'm going to try to find it again. So these are also things. You touch it with your brush, and you do a little mistake, and it changes the whole face, changing the expression. That is why people who are doing plastic operations always look totally different afterwards, because, or usually, often, because you can't change one part of the face and then expect it to look the same, because it's a whole thing. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope this is helpful, and yeah, I'll just keep painting on this. See. Also warm colors, cold colors. If the colors are in the distance, they're usually colder. If there's it's a shadow, it's cold. In the light, it is more warmth. Like here, it's more warmth. Then I have to let it glide over into the hair, and find the right kind of color, and cannot make it just okay. Just make it flow into the hair. I was looking at some videos of David Cousin, he's an American painter, brilliant painter, and he, of course, is very realistic still. I'm more a painter. I don't do that kind of detail, but his approach is very analytic, and that works for him. I kind of feel that kind of realism sometimes when you see them in reality is a little bit flat, but it is brilliant. It's objectively brilliant. I like paintings with a little bit more Wellington boot, or a little bit more punch to them. It comes out. His paintings are more inside the painting. So we differ there. So anyway, I hope that cleared up some of the questions, and I will have this segment in the video of the whole process. And the guy asked me if he liked better when I was talking or when I was playing other things, but I'll probably do both. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Yep. So what I'm doing now is working here with all the different, what do you call it? Textures and kind of flowery stuff in dress. It's very long process because really takes time, because I am very manic on getting it right. So not that it has to be totally the same, but it has to come to a point where it actually feels natural. Get all these different. But then again, after I've been doing this for a while, I let it dry and then I go over it with a wash of color, so I can bring out more room or more depth and contrast. You see the difference between the photograph and the painting in hue. It's more greenish, this is now more bluish. It's going to become a little bit more greenish. Not as greenish as in the photo, but closer to it. I do all of these patterns in the dress. I kind of just stand around and just touch it and draw it in and let it find out where. And I do the directions, so some of the patterns in the dress actually shows how the shape is, how the different things are. And here's the same thing. This is in the background, so it has to be in a way more blurry than the foreground. That is also what gives it that 3D feeling. Yeah. So there's things like that one has to kind of understand to create something that is very natural and virtuose. It's strange how one can learn to love standing for hours on end doing this. That is also why it's so important to lead a healthy life, to keep the brain in good shape, so the stress disappears, much of the stress. If you're hungover and you're going to do this, you will be restless, you will be tired, you will start making compromises and stuff like that. So stay healthy. Now I have to see this pencil, how many hours that goes into this. People don't know that. They think painting is just going to be so romantic, so I want to learn how to paint. And then you learn how to paint and you figure out that you can't paint off all. See? Now, this is linked together with some threads, and to create that illusion one has to kind of go in and make an impression of these things connecting the dots, and it's very easy to lose patience. See, this goes like this, and one has to find it could also be done in a different way. You can actually first lay just a layer of white, and then you can go in with the color that you see on the meats, and you kind of just go in between and you bring it out that way. So because the skin is under there, and it's kind of reddish, bluish. It's kind of in the dark, but you can see the skin is under there. So just have to give an impression of it. Well, this will just fall down, you know, it has to be linked anyway. So. It's funny that anyone actually takes the time watching these videos, but they do, so it's nice. It's my legacy. If I get terminal cancer, I'm gonna make a video of the death process. That's the last one. Actually, I'm playing music when I'm doing this. Usually, and then it becomes more like a dance. I think music is the best. Sometimes when you paint for a long time, you might start to feel a little bit lonely or isolated, so some news channel or documentary can actually take much of that away. So, is that better? Yeah. You cannot see something new all the time. Like here, just some points, kind of enhances the form. Here there is see the skin through the air. Then you have to go in and make a shadow on the hair. And that must be too sharp. So first I go over with some bluish color, bluish black with some black in it. And then I go in with some reddish into that again, and boom, there it is. Now it feels like it's actually a shadow. And this is the way I do it. I just keep on molding and molding and molding until you just tighten it up, layer upon layer and upon layer. Just tighten it up more and more. Get all this, because there's a lot of chaos in it now. But after a while it starts to be more coherent and tightened up. And then you can start putting in the start to see the colors. Like here. Creating shape also in the cloth. And it's so easy to, because you stand there a lot and you look at it and it's white, and you put on too much white, and too much white doesn't really become more light, because it has to be the right amount of whites and contrast to get any schwung on it. So, but there also the lasur comes in, so it's easier when you start putting on that lasur to get the right shape. It's too flat here, I see, which means that I need to go in, find the right color, and not actually making it wider, but linking these colors all together, and that is done with a more greenish or yellowish color. And since the lights are more reddish and you put on the greenish yellowish colors, you get this complementary contrast, like the color circle, and it starts to become more lively, and then it's more strategic. There's some points of light that starts to enhance it, like up here, and also have to go in and take that also around it more. So I guess I do think when I'm painting. I always thought I didn't think so much when I'm painting, but when I talk now, I see that is not the whole truth, actually, because it seems like I'm able to explain what I'm doing. Anyway, pisses me off that it seems so flat here. I have to find a way to make the bosom more round, and I don't really know how right now. Yeah. Well, I'll leave this now, go down here. Some more reddish. My videos are getting very long. Vermeer created a painting called The Art of Painting, and I'm going to take one of my favorite art photos of a girlfriend of mine, and I have 2 kids. I'm going to put all my skill into it, film the process, and I'm going to make this the best one ever. But first I have to make an exhibition, and so hard to get it right. Well, when I let this now dry, it will become more. When it dries and I go in after it's been drying, and I put some more color on top of this, comes out, and I dampen this a little bit, Should be good. Now, when I start now, I know it's really there's a lot of stuff happening in here, so and it's kind of bluish, greenish stuff, as I said. Here it's quite reddish, and so I will start with the warm now. It's actually many times hard to see exactly how warm something is. But I will just start almost using the pencil as a charcoal stift. This, just finding the right spots. Then just go like this. Center. And more blue there. It's not going to be that wide. That's the problem. So that's more like it. And I have to work on top of this and on top of that again. Just keep trying to get it right. See now, I do it right. To bring it out without losing the contrasts and colors. Just yeah. Okay. Well, I can't film the whole process, so we'll just keep working and show you later. Okay. So, working around upstairs a little bit. I have to deliver this painting today, so I'm just going to do as much as possible, and just make some of it more vivid. Customer is an important customer, and he wants them now, so I guess take it back later. He's gonna have a work with them. Well, I thought I was should be able to finish them off, but it's 3 paintings he's going to have, so but it's quite nice, so it could be finished. But I like to push it a little bit further, so that's just me. So, the thing is that all the lines, it's so important to kind of blur it out so it doesn't become too drawn. I won't be able to do the whole thing here anyway, so I want to keep it a little bit sketchy. And this, in the photo, it is kind of blurry too, so it doesn't really matter. The focus is down here. That's where the clear part is. So I can live with it. People don't really see so much, so people are quite blind actually to things like this, and I guess they can see it a little bit when see the difference when the work is done, but I can't picture where a painting would go if you kept molding it. And that is what you can do when you're a painter. See where it can go. Maybe I should try to make a series of paintings, probably not sketchy, and stop there, but focus on making a very nice sketch. Think for every stroke you do. Think in the beginning when I'm sketching, I'm just trying to get the stuff into the right spots in the paint in the canvas. But if you're going to make a painting, a whole painting in one go, you have to be more aware of what you do. Maybe it would be a cool experiment just to see what happens. If I did that for a living, I could actually make many exhibitions. See here. But with what I do, that is absolutely not possible. My paintings are extremely time-consuming. So that's why the price has to be a little bit high. So I wouldn't get anything back. Making a living out of this. This is a way to blur it out. You can actually paint it and then you just use your finger and you blur it out again, and it becomes quite a natural blur. Okay. Stamp it down a little bit so it doesn't take so much attention. So, and right. Then I will maybe I'll put in something in there so it actually looks like a picture. And you just, I can't really see what's there. I know what's there. Actually, it's one drawing from one of my exes. Yeah. So, okay, that's better. And then we need some framing, maybe. Paint it with a different color. And boom, time starts to fly. It's funny. But it's going to be sketchy. And now there's something there, so it's better. So. Just like that. Integration. Okay. I'll work down on it. In 4 hours, and I'll come back to check my paintings. Yay! So, I just need to give these things here a little bit more volume. And a little bit more hue. Been working for basically 16 hours, so I guess my voice is starting to sound a little bit rusty. Not that I'm talking so much, but probably from not talking so much. Anyway. So here's some more warm color. This is going to be one side. Did I come on? Yeah. It's a little bit too much. Need some kind of greenish to keep it down. It came too much out, I think. Yeah, something like that. Shit. Let's go down like this. Okay. I want to go all the way down here. And this one comes down there. And strange because I've been working so much, and because of my training, I train quite hard. So because of my training, when I just stop training, when I have to finish paintings, all that energy that I use in the gym or in taekwondo or something like that goes straight into the painting, and I can actually increase my work hours dramatically without getting tired. But it's not something I can do all the time, because it's just for shorter periods, like 2 or 3 weeks. Like now, 3 weeks, almost haven't been out at all, just working. And but it's good because I don't get tired in the same way. So yeah. Fuck. Starting to feel it now. Even my hair is getting thinner. It's too much stress. But that's why I need to get a better work rhythm, so I have like up to 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day of painting. In general, I mean, that is, if you work 8 hours, you have like 8 hours to hang around, so it should be enough. And if you only have 6 hours with spare time, like training, go to a cafe, meet friends, it should be enough to socialize. And so the trick is to focus the time, I guess. this is good or bad. Anyway. So there. There's a shadow going over there. Anyway, this is the last thing I do now with this painting. Probably get it back later, so I will do some more work on it. But I'm not sure about that, so some parts of it will be a little bit more sketchy than usual. But that can also have its own thing, I guess. Yeah, that's the wrong place. I think I am getting tired now. No wonder. Looking forward, I have a huge painting waiting for me inside the other room. So it's gonna be a lot of new videos coming out, a lot of new paintings. And that makes me happy. Think about it. Anyway, I think this is interesting. Anyway, so I'll just get it out now. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this soil painting tutorial. Here you can see the first sketch and some of the process where I wish I did more of these photos, but I'm going to start doing that in new videos, so stay tuned. As you can see, I worked a lot with the details in the dress and surroundings and everything, and that is my goal, to create this Rembrandtish feel to it. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you would like to go to Patreon and maybe support my channel with $1 or $5. For $5 you can actually be the lucky winner of my Patreon giveaway painting every month as one small painting. So go check it out and see you in the next video.